Hey, girls. Sorry, I'm working on these scans for somebody. I'm just checking the quality. All right, looks good. Okay, so let's double check the stream info here. For some reason, Twitch seems to be giving me the same kinds of problems that YouTube has been this whole time now. So that's a little frustrating, I'll say. So today we're going to be working on more of the city's roads and all that stuff. Maybe import those dice. Get that on there. By the way, I gotta let Dominic know I'm on. Excuse me, that's gross. And get on Discord. Okay. All set to begin. So, here's what's been going on. So we've got the hover over working like this. Yesterday, it seemed like Godot was wigging out on me. It wasn't Godot. OS needed a reboot. Something was going on with the Mac. As soon as I started rebooting, Godot started working again. So something else was going on there. I dislike that I don't know what it was. But we're all lined up on our hoverovers here. I'm going to add a delay when we move away from it. Stuff like that. We need to, the other thing is this needs to be able to work through a keyboard. or sorry, through a controller as well. That's not hugely important just yet. But I will say it does seem like having these be control elements would be the way to go. Or at least adding doing something with the controls for it, I think, is a good plan. Yeah. So it's funny, all that work yesterday, and I ultimately ended up with just a couple of lines of code that I kept. So, yeah, I'm a little beat up right now, man. I'm feeling a little out of it, I'll be honest. Still sick. Okay. Yeah, it's funny because just a lot of this is the minutia of building the interface and things like that, and it's just kind of boring. I mean, if this was my job, I'd totally like it. But yeah, for now, it just feels really boring. So we need to get some states going for the game. I'm going to steal some of my state code from another project. Grab that real quick. So let me find the code for it. Sorry. Okay, so we've got this finite state machine. We're going to roll it up in here. Basically, and I mean the way we're busting out a new state is like this. And then the code that I was using is the same. So, sounds good. So, I mean, there's the main turn states. And then there's the like sub states, I guess you could say, between each one. So if we look at this, there's two primary turn states. There's the roll, trade, and build. And I suppose at the start of the game is technically the build phase. It's like the start of the game, you do 2 build phases, and then you go into the roll stage. So I don't think we need anything else other than that. How's it going? I think that'll do it. Let me get the Yes, sweetie. Do I want a toy airplane? Sure. Do you need a tissue, sweetie? Can you ask Mama for one? I'm sure she has one in her. Why is this not opening in order? There we go. Seems good. Yeah, I can tell. So. Good. Good. So let's get these imported. We'll go to graphics. We'll go make a new folder called dice. And then we'll just drag them in. And how big is this? Just to see. 125 MB. Okay. Nice. You had to render it through a render farm like Pixar. Okay, there they are. Nice. Have you been streaming at all? Okay. So, I don't see any specific outline of how you do the city and road. When you play and you lay a city down, do you put the adjacent road with it, or is that another turn? And then somebody else puts a city down, and then they put a road down, or do you do a turn for each element at the start of the game? Because it doesn't really break it down that specifically in the manual. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we should have done it on the day I was talking, if at all possible. Because, you know, but I'd like to do it. I really think now's the time. All right, how do we build out an animated texture based off of other textures? Right click. No. Is there something on import? If I select a bunch of them. Let's get rid of filter. Let's see, animated texture. Hmm. That's what I'm trying to do. Now, how do we play it? How many frames a second was this animation originally? Did you export at? Was it 60? $25. All right, there's 3. There's 4. There's 5. Ultimately, I don't want to do too much. I don't want you to do too much more work on this because I think eventually we can do it in 3D. Have the dice be a 3D element. Loop is off. There we go. So now when we click on them, if we change them, it'll animate them. And each of these, okay, so they each individually have a loop. So we'll turn them off. Okay, so there's 2. Here's 3. Here's 4. Here's 5. And here's 6. Jim's like, what are you talking about, Papa? Look at this, Gemma. Somebody, friend, I've been working on this game. We got dice rolling, see? What one is that? Mm-hmm. That one? Mm-hmm. This one? Mm-hmm. What about this one? That's right. What about this one? Uh-huh. And finally... Yep. Pretty cool, huh? Well, it's Catan, but it's just not ready to play yet. And I feel like, can we make this the parent? Yeah, let's get rid of this node 2D. We don't need this crap. And we'll call this dice. So this scene is dice. Okay. And we'll rename this dice. And we may as well permanently have them on here. And so if we attach 2 instances of dice, there's the first one, and the second one, we call it dice 1 and dice 2. Now this is confusing to me. Is why are we on the last frame? Oh, playing is on. We don't want to do that. So let's get rid of these again. Go back to dice. We're going to turn playing off. We should get rid of centered. And we'll start on 1. And then save the 2. And do they roughly end up in the middle? Is that pretty good rule of thumb, is that they're in the middle? Okay, so we'll get rid of centered. Save there. Now let's bring in the instance scenes. Yeah, that's good. You see how hard it is? Even though you're rendering it, it's like, well, I gotta get it to line up sort of right there. But it's funny because it's all physics, so you can't quite get it right. And we're going to do another instance of dice. Okay, so now we got 2 instances of dice. One's going to be dice 1. The other one dice 2. And just to cheat, we'll just go like this. For now. And let's just do 1. So there's 1 rolling in. Let's say you get 2 1s. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. Let's do a different number. Let's do 6. Oh, that's clever. Clever girl. Alright, so we're both on 1. Playing, let's turn that off. Go back to 1. Frame 0. Cool. So, just for fun, at the start of the game, playing is false. String is animation. Animations are used to create sprite frames. Resource for can be figured out as sprites. Play animation. Okay, so let's just try this. We're gonna go at the start of the game. We're gonna play for dice 1. Play 1. Okay. And then we'll run the game. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. But I like a toy dinosaur? Yes. Where are you getting all these things? Well, I'm not going to say no to a gift from my beloved little angel girl. All right. Yeah. I figure once I decide to do that, I'll actually do a scale outside of the main thing. I'll do it in like an image editor so that we get the savings in file size as well. Thank you. Oops. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Bear. And I'll do a dice script. So we'll consider it, we'll put it in up here. Dice. And then what we'll do is we'll have a function for each dice called rolled. And it'll take an integer number and then we'll go play string number. Okay. Now let's just try that. So pretty much should be the same as this, except now we'll say rolled 1. Okay? Should do the same thing. Okay, let's not do the state stuff yet. Why are we taking so long? Non-existent function rolled. Oh, because we haven't saved this. Man, I gotta figure out a way to get Godot to save automatically the scenes before I compile on VS Code. Whoa. Oh, these are all the images. Why are we not running? Why has this been happening lately? It's like the debugger just eats it. All right, we'll import all these as dice graphics. It's weird. Like, why is this happening? Let's quit out of VS Code. Quit out of VS Code. Quit out of Godot. Run Godot again. I think it's VS Code that's effing this up. Well, let me double check the activity monitor, see if there's any weird Godot left over running. No, just this. Okay. And then it just sits here. It's going to be another stream where I'm stuck. Can't believe this. I went to restart and then all of a sudden Godot snapped into, like, it just started working. There it went. Now it should run fine. Like last time this happened, it just like took a minute and then it ran fine from then on. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening here. Okay, so the code is working the same. Now, let me just run it from here. Just to make sure we're still good. Okay, so we're still good. So for some reason, it's just been doing this thing where it like horks for a second and the compile takes a minute. Okay, so that code works. So now we can give it an integer. We call it rolled, and then in here we can do some animation stuff. Now, I could just make an animation player to handle this, because what we need to do is somehow gracefully remove the dice from the table. And I think that all I'm going to do is just tween the color transparency. And after the animation finishes. So let's see. Animation finished. So we'll fire on that. So what we'll do is we're going to connect a signal to ourselves. So we'll go connect animation finished on self. See, I feel like these should just be like if you create a signal called animation finished, you should be able to make a function on that class called animation finished, and then have that fire whenever that's called. And maybe you can. I don't know. Does it carry anything over? Let's double check. Okay, so we just had to wait a second, I guess. Animation finish doesn't give us anything. Okay, so then after that fires, we're going to tween. And we're going to need to add a tween to our scene. Tween. Okay. And we'll go tween. There's no need to make it a var then. Let's not worry about that. Interpolate property. So and this is going to be on self, and we're going to call it color, and I believe because we're looking at canvas item, modulate. Okay, so let's go canvas item. Okay, so let's actually start that timer for an hour. Start. Okay. Self-modulate. Modulate. This is what we want. So we're going to interpolate modulate, and we're going to go from color 1, 1, 1, 1 to color 0. And we're going to do it in 1. Yeah, 1 second sounds good. And our transitions, tween. Here we go. So we've got linear. And we're going to ease. We'll just copy these two. Okay, so then at the start of our dice roll, we're going to change our modulate to be back to 1, 1 before we roll the animation. Okay. So let's see what happens. Nothing. Did I get rid of? I did. Whoops. Got rid of the dice roll. Okay, so it's not firing. Not as I would expect. Let's do break on that. There's our tween. Now let me check the... make sure I'm doing this the right way. Oh, I need to start the tween. Huh. So we're setting it up, and then we're going to fire it. Like this. Okay, so let's try it again. There it goes. Okay. So I think there should be more of a pause, or the player clicks a button and then this thing happens. But for now, we'll keep it like this. We'll do it at 10 seconds. Just so it sits there on the screen. Or maybe it fades out. Maybe it fades out once the player ends their turn. Just so that that number's always on the board, kind of like in the real game. And we can get those dice to line up in the corner a bit more. Yeah, so it'll sit there. Oh, it's slowly tweening at 10 seconds. So that's even more of a fade. That's subtle. Okay, well that works for now. Okay, so now we need to... We can fire those animations off on a dice roll now. This should actually be pretty cool. Server roll dice. And then we distribute resources. You rolled... Oh, we need to keep the... We do need to give the information of each dice number. So instead of roll, we should do dice. 1. Well, we'll keep roll. And then we'll also have dice 1 and dice 2. And let's get rid of the global roll, though. So that's going to break. And then our set, dice 1 and dice 2. Okay. So then instead, it'll be dice 1 and dice 2. Okay, so those two. Then we go to distribute resources, and it'll say you rolled dice 1 plus dice 2. Or it'll say this that's the plan. So, but we need to do it in the right step of the network signals so that everyone sees the same thing. So in this case, we do it here. And we go dice 1 rolled this, and then we say dice 2 rolled this, and this should just work. So let's try it. And we'll do it, we'll connect across the network and try it out just to see that it works on both players' sides. So let's host. Okay. And we'll connect. All right, we'll randomize the board. What? Oh God. My worst nightmare. Only did one. Let's try again. Okay. Let's try hosting again. Connect. Ooh. Oh, set text. Oh, I got rid of the label. It's like, why was that label there? I just deleted it. And that's what I get for not naming it something other than label. Okay, we'll keep that there then. I go and piss off what I'm doing. Okay, so yeah, that was just like a client thing. You know what? I don't need that. Because I know it's good now. So let me delete this, and then we'll just run it again. Oh, this one's pissed because I'm... Just made my wife buy $1,000 in a crypto. She's like, I'm gonna puke. I knew it. It was 2 days ago. I'm like, it's at the bottom, and now's the time. She's like, no, she didn't say that, but I didn't really push it. And then I checked today, and it was up $20, and I'm like, okay, it's gonna keep going up. Just do it. And she's like, okay, so now we're going to start the game. The dice should roll automatically. No, not from Darren. Look at that. Woo! Sexy. You want to see something cool, Gemma? I'm going to end the turn here on this player, and the dice is going to roll for both of us, and we're going to see the same numbers. Ready? Look at that. Isn't that neat? Yeah. That is so cool. That looks real fancy. Yeah, that's Dominic. He rendered it all 3D like Pixar. Again? Okay. One more time. Oh, that one didn't animate. Oh, I bet you the player was stuck on the wrong. So I got to go fix the scene. Awesome. It's cool though, isn't it? Yeah. All right, sweetie, let's go. That one's stuck. Go drive by the mailbox and drop off the mail. Okay. So that was 4 it didn't like. Let's keep an eye out on 4 next time. 4 something about 4's animations wonky. Now, I got to capture this on, what's it called? Giphy to send to my buddies. Because I'm keeping them appraised of the status of the game. All right, record. In turn. Boom. Look at that. Golly. That's some hot stuff. Okay, now let me export this. And then, you know what else should happen is the console should wait. The console information should spit out after the animation is completed, so that the player doesn't get like a spoiler. Like kind of, you kind of still have to watch it, or at least, it's just, I don't know. Maybe the main player gets to see the number before everybody else, but everyone else kind of waits to see it. Okay, so I exported this animation. Where did you go? Didn't I? I feel like I did. Desktop. Where is it? Here it is. I believe. Yeah. That looks good. And I gotta open up the text over here because we talk about inappropriate, dirty jokes and politically incorrect. Oh god! Let me get rid of that. And we'll go over here. All right, sending that off. I'm going to throw the dice rolls in. I'm going to send this off to Darren too, so we'll put that in iMessage. I'm just sharing this with... But no, not Darren's crypto. It's just some Brave tokens. Because it's been dipping for so long. Okay, that's been sent. It is very satisfying, man. Good work. I love it when a plan comes together. So was it 4 that it got wonky about? That was weird. None of them seem to be... Let's see, is 4 looped? No. They're all the same frames per second. So I don't quite know why that happened. But we're just going to leave it as it is for now. I won't save this. Okay, so that's cool. So we got some cool, prettier dice rolls going on now. Sweet. Now... Get current state name. When does this happen? Current name. I didn't ask for the current state name. So why did that bomb out when I'll mark this open. We'll run into the game again. And it bombed on me last time. Something to do with that. Cool. So we got some pretty cool dice rolling going on. Network code's still working, even though I haven't touched it in a while. So I'm not losing. I don't know. Somehow that it's still working makes me feel good. Oh, these ones are still going. We'll do one more, just for a little. Even when they seem to bump into each other, it actually looks pretty. It still looks pretty good. Cool. And we'll bury this underneath. So it's above the board, but underneath the control, the UI stuff. So it'll be underneath the words on the screen for the chat. Okay. So that came together pretty quick. Yeah, so we're doing states. Let's just roll the game again, make sure. I have a feeling the build time now has something to do with the huge the size growing on our game. Mayhaps. Let's try it from Godot. You're starting to do the Gemma. Mm-hmm. That's good though. Okay, so we'll commit all this. What did I do to network? Why is network? Oh, we got rid of the label. Okay, so dice, animated dice rolls. Okay, push that out. Dude, isn't that cool? Isn't it nice when it like, it's really, it's, you know, the graphics, everything, I don't know. It's cool. And I might bump the frame weight. I might bump the frame weight. I might bump the frame rate up to 30 just to make it smooth, a little smoother. Because it's right now it's got that like filmic pace of about 24 frames a second. But like I said, like we were both talking about, I do think doing it in like using the Godot 3D layer, putting it on top of the 2D board, and doing the dice rolls in no, I think it works great. Doing the dice rolls in 3D would be a good way to do it. And then just making in here in the okay, so the way that I would do it is I would have collision walls on the outer bounds of the drawable space of the screen. When the dice roll comes into the frame, then a wall pops up after it, so that if it happens to bounce off of the corners here and back over here, it would stay in frame. It's just the reason why I'm hesitant to do that is if we cannot predict. If I would only feel really good about doing it that way if I could give it a number first and say roll this number, and then it could somehow predictively go, okay, if I fire off from this corner here, I will land on this number. And I know that kind of physics is possible, but I don't believe that it's possible with Godot. So I would almost want to, if I built a system where it was using pure physics, and I couldn't give it those numbers ahead of time, I would want to have it roll dice for like ever, and then make sure that the probabilities end up being these numbers here, which is these dice roll odds that you get in Godot, or Godot. What am I saying? When you're rolling 6-sided dice. So you have a 3% chance to get a 2 or a 12, 6% for a 3 or 11. That's why you roll 7 a lot in yeah, if that's possible. I mean, another way to do it is to not show the numbers. Yeah. Okay, so now let's get the start of the game going. So we've got some pretty dice rolls. We've got our ability to hover over and choose some spaces on the board like this. So now we need to kind of start tying this all together. So the start of the game is the thing that's unique. And I want to find the exact rules for the start of the game. And these rules in the actual game manual appear to be a little vague. Yeah, we do need to do roads as well. But I do want to just get that part going. Setup phase. Here we go. Begin the setup phase after you build the game map. Okay, that. Everyone chooses a color and takes the corresponding game pieces. Okay. Sort the resource cards into 5 stacks. Place them face up beside the board. Shuffle the development cards and place them face down. Place the 2 special cards and the dice beside the board. Place the rubber on the desert. The setup phase has 2 rounds. Each player builds 1 road and 1 settlement per round. Okay, so that's that. Now, how do we do this based on turn order? That's how I'm going to do it. So that's how we'll do it. So we go straight to next player. We need a way of doing setup phase. Setup phase. So he's calling it a phase. Rules. Setting up the game. Turn detail. Turn overview. So I'm calling them states. Let's call this turn. It's a state machine. And we'll call them turns. Roll, build, and trade. And then what we'll do is we'll make a new enumerator, call it phases. And then we'll have setup and play. That's all I can think of that would have. Phase equals a new finite state machine with phases. And you know what? I think I need to add. So we initialize, we pass the different states. I would have it show 2 settlements and 2 roads on your screen of your color and remove them as you place them. Yeah, I know. I'm not going to do that at first. I'm trying to get to playable as fast as possible. Current. Starting. And this would be one of the state's values. And can I unused starting? Starting is never used in an if this is intended, prefix it with an underscore. That's not what I want. I want to make sure that we can allow null. So how do we have starting with null? Let's go back over to scripting. Yeah, I keep tweaking my state machine. I've almost got it to where I think it's pretty damn good. But right now I'm realizing I want to have a starting state. And we need some things about functions. I want to see how you can set a parameter If a function argument has a default value, but it's possible to infer the type. Okay. But what if I want to explicitly but I don't. Fine. String. So starting equals null. Is it null? Is that okay? Yeah, it's lowercase. Okay, so we build this out, and then if there is a starting okay, that should work. Let's roll it. Yeah, okay. I'm going to tweet out that video that I made. Ooh, is Twitter down? Twitter's down. Do I need the HTTPS? Why is it not happy? I think Twitter's down. There we go. Let's see here. Okay, so that's tweeting out. And we're going to override the lockdown for a little bit longer. Hopefully that uploads in time. Okay, so now okay. Okay. This is called Next Player, but I'm beginning to think that it's not a good way to put it. So what we're going to do is if... Okay, so current player order front. Push back. Okay, so that's fine. But we're going to do if phase equals setup. Then we do one thing, else we do our typical turn order stuff, which is this. And I actually don't, I think this should go above because we're going to need to use that for other things. So we don't need to do a dice roll if we're not in setup. And if we are in setup, we need to have like a build. And this can be something that so function build, we'll call it build, and function trade. So these are all like base things. So during the build phase, so now the game's unplayable. So I've broken the game right now because we're not doing anything. The default phase is set up, and our starting phase is set up, and so So we're calling these base things turn. Turn other, turn self. I think this other thing, because we're about to have a build, and we don't want to build self and a build other. Okay, so I'm kind of getting the basic stuff fleshed out here. And then I have I have the board code here that has these building collisions locations. So there is input event on collision object 2D. So basically we could get, if they clicked on it, okay, so now we got to build the data structure out for handling what is going to be determining whether or not something's even been placed already. We need to do that because there's the rule that we need to set for making sure that you don't build one next to another one that's too close. So figuring that out. And also just like when you hover over to make sure that it goes, oh, there's already one there, so I'm not even going to show that as a possibility to build from. So that's step 1. And that coordinate is a value of, it's a set of 3 pairs of cell numbers in the array. So let's see. I did a vec2 array for settlements. So we need to call them buildings. I don't use these yet, right? No. Okay, so these are going to be called buildings because they could be either. And well, we presume to have an array. What if we use the key? We'll make it a dictionary. And we'll use the same logic for setting the position. So when we instance a new settlement, oh man. Okay. So it needs to be, it needs to, we're going to get rid of city. Move to trash. And instead of settlement, we're going to call it building. Because we know that when a player has picked this location, only they will be able to upgrade it. We know that it will either be this sprite or the city sprite. Okay, so we need to give it a... How do we talk about this? How do we refer to it? How do we find it? If you're hovering over it, we can get its name. It does need to exist in Okay, so we'll call it a building. Var type. By default, it'll be. Let's do enum type. Settlement. Or city. Okay. Okay, everything's still responding correctly. All right. So what I've done essentially is assigned for each, and I guess we'll call it building. For each building that we add on the scene, I'm giving it its location information in the same order. So what I need to do is build out the key lookup here the same way. I still have to do this. I can't go anywhere until I get this figured out. Building collisions happens at the top. Maybe this name isn't a good one anymore, because the other thing that we're going to want to do here, so here's what we'll do. Buildings, and when, I mean, we're basically going to be doing kind of the same thing in 2 different spots. So buildings dot, or buildings, this equals null. So expected close parentheses. Felipe, how's it going? How was the dentist? Oh, you missed the dice rolling. I can't show you right now because everything I'm doing right now is breaking everything. Let me play back the video for you. So this was me testing. We got Dominic's cool dice roll animations. He's got the transparencies and all that stuff worked out. So in game, when you roll dice across the network, this is what it looks like. Super cool stuff. I do kind of like how it shows up. Yeah, it looks super dope, doesn't it? Super duper. Yeah, so right now I'm doing a lot of weird coding to get... Oh, that's okay, man. Really bad allergies. Sorry about that. I don't really have a problem with allergies unless I'm doing something like mowing a lawn. Oh, that sucks. Okay, so this is building out keys that are arrays of values, and we're setting them all to null. So all available buildings, all buildings are available, basically. And then I guess to just be sure that we did it right, we'll print out the result like this. I guess I could even just, well, we'll just print the debug. I mean, I can run the debugger and find it that way too, but that sucks, man. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know it can kind of put you out. Speaking of putting you out, these builds are killing me. Well, I think this is a good stopping point. I'm starting to get the groundwork laid out for the logic of actually picking a building and then bouncing back and forth between turn order for the player and all that stuff. So I think I'm going to stop for now. And I think that this is a really great spot to be at for tomorrow. Yeah, so we don't even need settlement. Yeah, so that'll do it for tonight. But we're in a good spot. I'm feeling good. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Yeah. Thanks again, Dominic, for those cool dice. That was cool. I'm just astonished about how, like, it looks so good. I know my reactions might not be like super, but that looks so good. It looks really, really good. You know what would be cool? Not to get ahead of ourselves, but it would be cool if players could customize their dice color. And then when they roll, you see it as a different color. That would be dope. All right, guys. I'm going to go. Have a good night. See ya next stream.